Ariana Grande has had to address a wave of body shaming on TikTok. Nick Cannon came under fire for his creepy comments about Taylor Swift, and fans are hating on Millie Bobby Brown's engagement. First up, Ariana Grande has hit back at people who've been body shaming her for her most recent appearance. We know that she's been working on the upcoming film adaptation of Wicked the Musical, where she will be playing Glinda the Good Witch, so that's why she's mostly stayed out of the spotlight in the last couple of months. But when new photos of her surfaced online, people couldn't help but comment on how different she looks. For her role as Glinda, she's dyed her trademark brown hair a honey blonde, along with her eyebrows. But that wasn't the only difference. In these new photos, Ariana also looks noticeably thinner, and that sparked a wave of health concerns across social media. Of course, this was just another way for people to criticize her under the guise of being worried about her weight. Under her recent posts, they wrote things like, "Get well soon," and "Why does she look sick?" Some even speculated that she's had some kind of cosmetic procedure done, like buccal fat removal, or she's been taking medications like Ozempic, which we all know is really popular with celebrities right now. But the fact is that Ariana has been noticing all of these unsolicited comments about her body. She's actually read a lot of them, and it's really affected her mental health. That's why she chose to come on TikTok and address the ridiculous criticism that she's been getting about her body. She explained that there are many different ways to look healthy and beautiful, and the body that people are comparing her current body to was the unhealthiest version of her. Quote, "I was on antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest point in my life when I looked the way that you consider my healthiest. But that in fact wasn't my health." While Ariana acknowledges that she shouldn't have to even address her health issues, she thinks that something good might come from being open and vulnerable about it. She said, "The second thing is you never know what someone is going through, so even if you're coming from a loving place or a caring place, that person probably is working on it or has a support system that they're working on it with. You never know, so be gentle with each other and yourselves." She asserts that everyone should be gentler and less comfortable commenting on people's bodies, no matter what. Because even if you think you're saying something good or well-intentioned, it's just not a good idea. And we should all be working towards not doing that as much. Also, if you're going to do it, there are some ways to compliment someone or ignore something if you don't like it. So you should really be thinking about the person you're criticizing before you say the first thing that pops into your head. At the end of the video, Ariana had some kind words for her fans. She said, "Sending you guys a lot of love, and I think you're beautiful no matter what you're going through, no matter what we weigh, no matter what you like to do with your makeup these days, no matter what cosmetic procedures you've had. And I think you're beautiful, and I just wanted to share some feelings." The response to her video has been overwhelmingly positive, and fans flooded the comment section with messages of support and praise for speaking up. Many of them pointed out that this would have never happened if Ariana was a guy, because so much of this body shaming is tied to sexism and double standards for women in the industry. There were also comparisons of what's been happening to Selena Gomez recently. One person on Twitter posted their videos side by side and wrote, "Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande shouldn't have to go on a public platform to explain their weight gain/weight loss because of abhorrent criticism. It's nasty, cruel, and unfair, especially today." Unfortunately, Selena has been receiving a lot of criticism for her weight recently, and it got so bad that she had to go on TikTok Live to address it. She explained that when she's on her lupus medication, she tends to hold in a lot of water weight. At one point, she had to pause during the video and she started crying, saying that she's not a model and she never will be. That entire clip was extremely heartbreaking, and it's just so frustrating that she even felt like she had to defend her appearance in the first place. This just goes to show you that even the most famous celebrities actually read the things that are written about them. Some people try to use their status against them and say that they should get used to it because they're public figures, because it's just a part of the lifestyle they signed up for. But that's just such a messed up way to look at it. Not to mention that this kind of stuff has been following female celebrities for years. It doesn't matter how old they are, as soon as they're in the spotlight, everyone thinks it's fair game to scrutinize their appearance. Back in 2015, there was an infamous viral tweet comparing Ariel Winter's body to Ariana Grande's. They were only 17 and 22 at the time, but they were already being labeled with words like curves and sticks. People in the comment section were pitting them against each other and arguing about which body type they preferred. Ariana actually responded to the post and called out the misogyny behind it. She explained that we need to stop talking about people's bodies as if they're on display and needing your approval. So she's always been saying the same thing, and it's just time that people actually start to listen.
Couldn't we have just stayed at home for a few more weeks, like all the other countries that were fine and are better than we are?
Ariana Grande just released her album Positions, and while she was on the Zach Sang show talking about the new album, she made a point to call out the TikTokers who have been partying during the pandemic, making it clear that she is not here for it. Hey, what's up everyone, it's Mackenzie here, and today we are going to be talking about Ariana Grande being shady. Before we do that, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here and want to see more. So Ariana was just on the Zach Sang show, and right off the bat, Zach asked her if Ariana is going to be celebrating Halloween this year, because he knows that it's one of her favorite holidays. After this, Ariana goes on a long rant, talking about how Halloween is her favorite time, and she usually goes to the haunted houses so much the actors start to expect her. Then she gets into the shade, asking why this had to hit again now, saying, quote, "Of all the things that we could have done, couldn't we have just stayed home for a few more weeks like all the other countries that were fine and are better than we are? Did we really all need to go to Saddle Ranch that badly that we couldn't have waited for the deathly pandemic to pass?" Then going in on Saddle Ranch further, adding, quote, "We all really needed to put on our cowgirl boots and ride a mechanical bull that bad?" She added, "We all needed that Instagram post that badly." And before we get any further, give this video a like if you're liking it so far. And if you didn't already know, Saddle Ranch has become the new LA hotspot during the pandemic. And since there's so much outdoor seating, tons of people are able to be there at the same time. So this has caused influencers to go in droves, bringing their friends along too. And since paparazzi noticed that that's where they're all going, paparazzi have now started to wait at Saddle Ranch for people to interview. And it's become such a phenomenon, Emma Chamberlain even made a whole podcast episode talking about the new hotspot. Some regulars at Saddle Ranch are the D'Amelio sisters, Addison Rae, Bryce Hall and the other Sway House members, and even Jake Paul, Tana Mojo, and Nikita Dragon. So clearly Ariana is calling out some of these names in particular. And after these comments went viral, LA paparazzi started asking TikTokers to react to Ariana's comments. When one paparazzi asked Dixie D'Amelio, she said, quote, "I don't really know what to think." But then she quickly changed her tune, saying, "I mean, she's right. She's right, yeah, she's a queen, I love her." Then Addison Rae said that Ariana's comments were fair, adding, quote, "I think it's understandable. I definitely have not been going. I just have been trying to stay in and work out. I've been working out a lot and also preparing for my movie." But her boyfriend Bryce Hall was with her, who we know has been throwing and attending parties, so the answer was like a little hypocritical, especially since she has been seen out at Saddle Ranch multiple times. So really that's all for the story today, and really the only note I think we can leave this on is that Ariana is queen, and we didn't really need another reason to love her, but you know, she gave us one anyway. Let me know your thoughts on this below. Do you think celebrities calling them out is going to be like changing much? Or since they aren't actually breaking the law by going to Saddle Ranch, is this really even not that big of a deal? Let me know. But before I head out, I'm going to shout out some comments from my video on Justin Bieber's past. So Teddy said, "I really hope Justin's future doesn't end up like Britney's current situation. He's one of the most recent pop stars that blew up in a media frenzy. I gotta pray for the kid. He says he's over his dark past, but you never know." Yeah, I'm hoping that, I feel like he hit his low a lot sooner than Britney did, so hopefully that means he'll be okay kind of for the rest of his life, whereas Britney had such a big career for so long and was involved in a lot of crap before she kind of had to come down and had her breakdown. So yeah, I'm hoping he has better people around him. It already kind of seems like he does have better people around him than Britney, so yeah, I'm hoping he'll be better off. Then Eleanor said, "This makes sense because when you look at how protective he is on Billie, you can see it comes from personal experiences." Yeah, he's been really vocal about Billie wanting to protect her. I remember I saw this clip going viral that like he was literally tearing up talking about her and how he hopes that her talent and all that won't go away with the fame and how she'll stay true to herself hopefully. So yeah, he really is trying to help the younger generation. He even said that in his documentary actually. Then Entitled Potato said, "This honestly makes me see him differently. At first I thought he was just rude, but now I understand how fame affected him. That's heartbreaking. I'm glad he's in a better place." Yeah, me too. It's really good to see he's in a better place, and agreed, when he was first starting out I was like, why is this kid squandering this amazing blessing he's been giving? Why can't he just calm down and like be normal, just focus on the music, whatever? But when you've never had a childhood and you've never had like the ability to make mistakes and just like, you know, have fun, then that really affects you later on.
Ariana Grande sparked some backlash online after posting and then deleting some photos that many are calling Asian fishing, although the Ariana Grande fans are out in force to fight this controversy off. The singer posted some photos of herself wearing an oversized jacket, but some angry people on the internet called her out for doing her makeup to appear more Asian. One person writes, "Okay, but Ariana Grande gave up black fishing and now she's trying out Asian fishing. We not about lie and say she's not, love her music, but girly going straight to hell." With another adding, Stop saying Ariana trying to be Asian or she's Asian fishing. Even if you mean to respect Asian culture, what you're doing is clearly based on a bias that Asian people have those eyes. Have you ever seen a single Asian person in real life? Please. According to the people that had an issue with this photo, Ariana had an overzealous eyebrow lift in which she's actually changed the shape of her eyebrows from arched to straight, which is popular in East Asia. The user also accused Ariana Grande of attempting to showcase a monolid look, adding, "We know Ari studies Japanese and has an interest in Japanese culture based on her Spirited Away tattoo, her incorrect Japanese tattoo, and her defense of the tattoo that followed shortly after, explaining how much she loves Japanese culture." They also went on to bring up her past of being accused of blackfishing. This happened when she was called out for using certain words, an accent, using rap and hip hop in her music, and overzealous tanning, of course. It's definitely easy to cherry pick these certain images and call her out for this, but do you genuinely think that she would want to do something like that? To me, it seems more like hypersensitive people on the internet reacting to a massive celebrity any way that they can. One user posted a bunch of side-by-side images of Ariana's eyes to prove their point, and all this really shows me is that the internet has far too much time on their hands. In response, another user wrote, "I'm Asian and I can point out Asian fishing when I see one. Ariana isn't Asian fishing because clearly y'all never heard of the flash from the camera and that skin can go pale in the winter." And upon looking into this alleged outrage that was being reported by a bunch of different media outlets, the supporters were much louder than her critics. Usually when people are calling someone out on the internet, they want something to be done about it. They want something taken away. They want a cancellation to happen. However, this time there were just a few accounts that were getting sassy about a photo, and then it was the Ariana Grande fan base that turned up the heat. I really don't think that it would have been this widely covered if her fans didn't react this much to their favorite singer being accused of Asian fishing.
Are Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez going to break up? Why was Britney Spears seen without her ring? And what has Travis Scott done in Japan to humiliate himself? I'm gonna answer all these questions in this video, so stick with me. First up, why are there breakup rumors going around about Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez? Let's get into it. Over the weekend, Dalton reportedly deactivated his Instagram account after comments were made questioning his sexuality. For whatever reason, some fans decided to target him and accuse him of being gay. We don't know what these comments looked like exactly, but obviously they weren't made in a nice way. It was most likely intended to bully him. So it's possible that he was sick of getting these kind of remarks and just wanted to get off of social media. As for his possible breakup with Ariana, so far that's still just speculation. This is all pretty upsetting given the fact that the couple have really tried to keep a low profile ever since they got married. Dalton does have his own Instagram account, but he set it to private shortly after news of their relationship became public. Now, these comments might not be the reason he deactivated his account, but apparently he did not use Instagram on the regular, so it could also mean that he just wanted to delete it for good. But what's really interesting is that this is not even the first time there's been divorce rumors. Last August, Ariana posted a video doing her makeup while she was promoting her brand REM Beauty. But it wasn't the makeup that caught everyone's attention. It was the fact that she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. If she didn't address it, fans would most likely jump to conclusions and assume that something was going on behind the scenes. Thankfully, she did, because she already knew exactly what everyone would say when they didn't spot her ring. She said, "I'm just not wearing my ring. It's getting clean. I'm not getting a divorce, so before you start, don't." So she made it very clear that she was shutting that idea down. Obviously, she's been in the spotlight long enough to know that even the smallest thing can cause a massive panic online. But is there something about Dalton that fans don't seem to like? I mean, why does it seem like people are jumping at the possibility of them breaking up? Although they've managed to keep a relatively low profile since they got together, there was a moment in 2021 which earned them a ton of backlash. In June that year, a video of Ariana and Dalton resurfaced online, which was then shared by various Twitter accounts. A black and white clip showed the two of them with a few of their friends, and they appeared to be participating in a mockery of Native American dance. In the video, you can see Ariana sitting at the center of the circle. She was then seen to be singing, laughing, and spinning a big piece of cloth around in the air. The other people in the group were said to be making drumming sounds. Apparently, it seemed like they were trying to summon a spirit, so it's no surprise that this was deemed offensive because it kind of seemed like they were making fun of the culture. Soon after it was posted, Ariana deleted the video because she started to receive too many negative comments. It's possible that fans interpreted this to be something way different than what was actually happening, but it's also easy to see why it was so upsetting. Aside from that, there hasn't really been many controversial moments in their relationship, and that's probably because the two of them are very adamant about privacy and keeping their life off of social media. Dalton might not be as well known as her previous boyfriends like Pete Davidson or Big Sean, Sean, but that doesn't mean he makes her any less happy. The fans seemed to be over the moon when it was revealed that they were dating. Nearly 2 years after breaking off her engagement with Pete, Ariana was spotted kissing a mystery man in LA, who was later confirmed to be Dalton. The couple began dating in January of 2020 and spent a lot of time together at Ariana's home in New York City. When the pandemic hit in March, she followed him back to LA because he had to return there for work. An inside source at the time said, "She realized he is very special. It was getting very tricky for them to see each other, so she decided to take her chance. She purchased a house in the Hollywood Hills in June and never looked back. They are incredibly happy." In May that year, Dalton appeared in the music video for Ariana and Justin Bieber's song Stuck With You. They were seen to be hugging and dancing together. Then in December of 2020, after almost 1 year of dating, Ariana announced her engagement on Instagram. She posted a photo of them together along with shots of their engagement ring. In the caption she wrote, "Forever and then some." Several months later, in May of 2021, the couple tied the knot in a very small ceremony at their home. Apparently there were less than 20 guests there and the nuptials were informal. There was no real ceremony, just a casual exchange of vows. Ariana later shared photos from their wedding on Instagram. You could see her wearing a beautiful Vera Wang dress for her nuptials. At the time, an inside source spoke to People magazine and said they're a great fit together. Dalton's entirely unfazed by the scope of her celebrity and is very grounding for her. He's young but mature and knows what he wants out of life, which certainly seems to be the case because unlike her famous exes, he's not an entertainer, but that doesn't mean he isn't super successful on his own. Dalton is a luxury real estate agent. He works as a director of the estates division for Aaron Coleman Group. We know that he works with A-list clients and has 7 years of experience in the market. That's actually how he met Ariana, because she was looking to buy a house in LA and he was her realtor, which sounds like it would make for a great story. After all, I'm sure most celebrities still want to be able to meet someone in person, like we all do. To this day, the couple seem to be very happy together, and there's no real reason to believe that they're going to separate anytime soon. But Ariana and Dalton aren't the only couple that people think have separated. There's now speculation that Britney Spears and her husband Sam Asghari have decided to take a break. There was a bit more evidence for this one because both of them were seen without their rings, and Britney was spotted hanging out with an unidentified man in Puerto Rico over the weekend. She was photographed at Starbucks in the beachside town of Dorado wearing a black off-the-shoulder dress. Both of them were standing next to each other while looking at the menu, and they were acting pretty casual. The man was later confirmed to be a member of her security staff. As for Sam, he brushed off speculation that their marriage was in trouble. His rep explained that the two of them are not experiencing marital issues, despite the fact that they are both ditching their wedding bands. He claimed that his client has just taken off the ring because he was filming a movie at the time. While it's unclear what movie he's filming, he did announce in November that he landed a role in a television series called Lioness. He shared a photo outside what appears to be a film set on his Instagram story, as well as a selfie on a plane with his wedding ring on display. This is likely the reason that he didn't join Britney on vacation, because he was just busy working. Meanwhile, Britney seemed to be living it up in Mexico with her manager and longtime friend Kate Hudson. They posted several photos on the beach together and even a video where they were grinding on each other and getting very close. But that's absolutely nothing to worry about because the two of them have been best friends for decades. Kate has always been a really private person on social media, but we do know that he's been in Britney's inner circle for years. Back in 2014, he was seen giving her a kiss on the cheek. In 2015, they were photographed dancing together, and in 2017, she was spotted at his birthday party. He started working as her manager after her former manager, Larry Rudolph, quit. This would have been a major deal considering that he had worked with her for 25 years. He released a statement at the time saying, "I was originally hired at Britney's request to help manage and assist her with her career, and as her manager, I believe it is in Britney's best interest for me to resign from her team as my professional services are no longer needed. I wish Britney all the health and happiness in the world, and I'll be there for her if she ever needs me again, just as I always have been." Because he quit the exact same year that her conservatorship ended, the timing seemed to be a little strange, and fans were pretty shocked at his decision. But it was most likely just about his plans to retire rather than anything more scandalous. The following year, Britney and Sam tied the knot in a star-studded wedding at her mansion in California. Although most fans were very happy for her, others kept pushing the idea that her husband was somehow controlling her. This is something that Sam has had to continually deny. Back in December, he responded to a comment which accused him of controlling her social media accounts. He said, "No, I don't even control what we have for dinner." Before he proposed in September of 2021, the actor opened up about the beginning of their relationship and how he sees their future together. He spoke to Forbes in March and said, "My priorities in life are to remain humble and understand where I came from and where I'm going. I want to take my career to the next step when it comes to acting. I want to take my relationship to the next step as well. I don't mind becoming a father. I want to be a young dad. Although they seemed to have a very solid relationship when they started thinking about marriage, unfortunately their wedding was not without its hiccups, and that's kind of an understatement. Britney's ex-husband Jason Alexander gatecrashed her wedding by showing up at her house and trying to stop it. The two of them were married for 55 hours in 2004, and as you could have probably guessed, it wasn't very well thought out. They were both really young, very drunk, and decided to get married in Las Vegas after spending several days partying together. Then they got the marriage annulled after they both sobered up. So everyone was shocked that almost 20 years later, Jason came back into Britney's life only to try and ruin her wedding. He was obviously looking to get a bit of publicity out of it as well, because he filmed the whole thing on Instagram Live. What's really crazy is that he actually managed to break into her home before he got arrested for trespassing and was taken away by security. More than anything, this incident was really upsetting, considering that it happened around the same time that Britney's conservatorship came to an end. The singer was trying to start a new life and celebrate her freedom, so it's really sad that she couldn't even have a drama-free wedding. Okay, moving on, let's talk about the viral video that's been going around of the moment that Travis Scott realizes he's not very big in Japan. The rapper was filmed on a crowded street in Tokyo. At first, he was covering his face with a hoodie so no one would know that it was him. The whole thing was very dramatic because Travis was obviously trying to have some kind of a big reveal. He then takes off his hoodie and seems to walk around looking confused that no one actually recognizes him. It was extremely awkward to watch because he was clearly expecting some kind of big reaction from the crowd, only to realize that no one really knew who he was or paid him that much attention. He was literally ignored by every single pedestrian. If anything, they were just trying to get from point A to point B, and he was interrupting the flow of the crowd. At one point, he tried to laugh it off and then walk back to his group. Unfortunately, that uncomfortable moment was posted on Twitter, and now it seems like everyone was making fun of him. The video now has around 11.5 million views, and a ton of comments pointing out his mistake. They also pointed out the fact that the reveal would have worked better for bigger stars like Nicki Minaj or Beyonce, but there was just no way that Travis was going to get the same results. In fact, that video got so much attention mostly because of how funny it was. There's now a thread on Reddit dedicated to figuring out why no one seemed to recognize Travis Scott. People wrote things like, why are American rappers surprised by the fact that no one knows who they are overseas? And I'm in the US and I still have no clue who this even is. It's interesting to see that his fame and notoriety doesn't necessarily translate in Japan. In the US, he's known as a successful rapper who sold heaps of records, dated and had 2 children with Kylie Jenner. Not only that, but he was also directly involved, and some would even say responsible for, the horrific tragedy that was Astroworld in 2021. The event, which resulted in the death of 10 people, has become synonymous with Travis's name. I could just never imagine the severity of the situation, but no matter what excuse he had, at the end of the day, there was nothing that could bring back the lives of those 10 people. He is still being criticized for the events of that day.
Ariana Grande is being body shamed on Twitter after a recent picture surfaced where people claimed that she gained weight. Her body is now one of the biggest trending hashtags on Twitter, filled with comments of people calling her fat. I've got all the details on this horrible story right now on IO. Thanks for coming back to Inform Overload. We give you guys the news and we try to make it fun. Say hi to the IO team on social media. All of our links are down below. And we are also going to link one of our newest channels, so make sure you guys go check it out. It is called Top 10 Central. It's a funny reaction channel filled with basically funny videos, TikToks, memes, everything you're laughing at anyways. Plus, you get to see hosts from all of our channels. Some from Most Amazing Top 10, some from IO, some from Beyond the Screen. So make sure you guys go check it out over there. But for now, I've got a more serious topic to cover. Let's get back to this body shaming scandal. A recent behind the scenes photo of Ariana has leaked and people are accusing her of gaining weight during quarantine. If you were on Twitter this weekend, you would have seen that Ariana Grande fat was an auto-suggestion when you searched her name. Earlier this year, she was actually body shamed for being too thin, and now the case is reversed. Why people think they have the right to comment on anyone's body shape is beyond me, let alone make it a worldwide hashtag. This is the picture that everyone was commenting on. In the picture, it looks like she's just chatting with a coordinator from a show, but people were busy pointing out her so-called belly bulge. People on Twitter said that her belly pops out and that she looks noticeably fat. Not my words, I am just relaying the message. Her fans have stayed true to her though and came to her defense against the people who were calling her fat. One fan wrote, "This is actually so gross. She's finally at a healthy weight, and suddenly Ariana Grande fat starts trending. Disgusting." But this tweet itself is accusing her of being at an unhealthy weight before this photo even leaked, which isn't fair in my opinion. But some people cleared it up and said that she just looks healthy, she doesn't look underweight, and she doesn't look overweight. She's just healthy. But despite some people being passionate about the trending hashtag, other users just made jokes about it. One user wrote, "Fat or anorexic, she continues to increase her fortune. Don't know, I forgot who she is." Again, people making jokes about eating disorders as if people don't actually struggle with this very serious illness. The whole thing could have just been the picture, you guys. She's wearing sweatpants, which we all know does not show our true figure, and her stomach is not bulging out at all. She's literally in the middle of a conversation, like she could just be breathing. Like breathing out, like just taking a breath. And even if she did gain some weight, she is beautiful, and I don't think there's a need to point it out like this. Now, this is a super touchy subject for me, but what do you guys think about it? Share your thoughts down in the comments, and while you are doing that, I'm gonna shout out some comments from my last IO News story, Justin Bieber suing TikTok star for Hailey Baldwin plastic surgery claims. Niali says, "If she's really all natural, why did she even respond that quick?" I don't know if that's fair to say, because if I was all natural, which I am, but I'm saying if I was and people started accusing me of not being, I would probably defend myself quickly. X says, "I feel bad for the doctor, he was just giving his opinion." You know, a lot of people were sticking up for the doctor in this one, which is interesting. Crazy Girl says, "They are so overreacting." Facts. I mean, I feel like suing probably isn't like necessary, but I guess when you have that much money, it doesn't matter. Dynasty Wolf says, "When your life is so boring, you sue people for their opinions." This actually made me laugh out loud because the doctor said, like, this is just an opinion. Like, he's not saying it's facts. He did say it was just an opinion. Yeah, a little silly.
Jeanette McCurdy, Ariana Grande, ding ding, pow. Not really. Jeanette just be jealous, and honestly, understandably so. We all feel that gentle kiss of jealousy from time to time, but let's talk about why Miss McCurdy was feeling the sting. In her new memoir, quote unquote, "I'm Glad My Mom Died," the ex-actress Jeanette McCurdy detailed exactly why and how she became jealous of her Sam and Cat co-star Ariana Grande during their time on the Nickelodeon sitcom. For a little background, McCurdy famously starred as Sam Puckett in iCarly, while Grande played Cat Valentine in Victorious. With the two being favorites from their respective shows, Nickelodeon let them reprise their roles in the spin-off Sam and Cat, which only ran for one season from 2013 to 2014. But that's not the only thing that Nickelodeon allowed. According to McCurdy, Ariana Grande was regularly allowed to miss filming for the show in order to fulfill other obligations in her music career, including singing at award shows, recording new songs, and doing press for her upcoming album. Yes, that may seem petty, but the problem wasn't that Ariana was allowed to miss filming, it was that when McCurdy had her own opportunities in her acting career, specifically 2 feature film roles when she was on iCarly, she was forced to turn them down as the writers could not write her out of the episodes to allow her to go film the movies. Which is totally unfair, as for Sam and Cat, Ariana was allowed to spend the whole episode locked in a box so that she could go pursue her music career. Jeanette wrote in her book, quote, "The week where I was told Ariana would not be here at all, and that they would write around her absence this episode by having her character be locked in a box, are you kidding me? So I have to turn down movies while Ariana's off whistle toning at the Billboard Music Awards? F this." End quote. As you can imagine, this led McCurdy to do a lot of comparing herself to her co-star. At a young age, that is not a healthy way to live. And Ariana wasn't too subtle at keeping her success too humble either, with Jeanette writing that she, quote, "didn't exactly try to hide her successes." But then Jeanette spoke of the time that it all became too much. The time that Ariana came to set after hanging out at none other than Tom Hanks' house. Jeanette wrote, quote, "Ariana came whistle-toning in with excitement because she had spent the previous evening playing charades at Tom Hanks' house. That was the moment I broke. I couldn't take it anymore. Music performances and magazine covers, whatever, I'll get over it. But playing a family game at National Treasure, 2-time Academy Award winner, and 6-time nominee Tom Hanks' house? I'm done. She continued saying, quote, "Pop star success I could handle, but hanging out with Sheriff Woody, with Forrest effing Gump, this has gone too far. So now every time she misses work, it feels like a personal attack. Every time something exciting happens to her, I feel like she robbed me of having that experience myself." And it's easy to see why she feels that way. If my co-star just went and hung out with Captain Phillips, I'd probably lose my mind too. But hey, now you know why Jeanette was jealous of Ariana. Have any thoughts? Well, you know what to do. Leave it in the comments. And hey, why not like and subscribe while you're here too? I'd sure appreciate it. For now, I've been your host, Adam Andrews. You can find me on the gram in the description below. This is Inform Overload, and thanks for watching. Get set, because today we're actually going to take 3 stories and just wrap them up in a nice little package, tie a bow on them, and hand deliver them to you in one little video with my face on it. I'm Adam Andrews with Inform Overload, and let's jump on in. First things first, I don't know if any of you have seen this clip floating around TikTok, but back in 2020, Pete Davidson got a really good jab in on Ariana Grande in one of his live shows, and for some reason it's gaining traction almost 3 years later. So back in 2020, Pete had his Netflix special Pete Davidson Alive from New York, and during the special he spoke about comments his ex, Ariana Grande, made in a 2019 Vogue interview. Now during the interview she said, quote, "I met Pete and it was an amazing distraction. It was frivolous and fun and insane and highly unrealistic, and I loved him, and I didn't know him." The two started dating in May of 2018 and kind of prematurely, in my opinion, had a 5-month-long engagement. Obviously, they broke up. Now, Pete didn't mention it much, but after hearing about the things she said to Vogue from a friend of his, he decided a clapback was in order. Obviously, it's way funnier coming out of the man himself, so go watch the clip if you haven't, but this is how it went. Pete said, quote, "So now I just think it's like fair game." And you're like, "Pete, this isn't fair. You're like airing out your dirty laundry. How could you do that? Why did she say this stuff? To her friends in the confidence of her own home?" No, she said it on the cover of Vogue magazine. Can you imagine if I did that? My career would be over tomorrow. If I spray painted myself brown and hopped on the cover of Vogue magazine and just started on my ex. Now you probably know about this too, but Pete is referencing the fact that Vogue and Ariana Grande came under scrutiny for seemingly darkening her skin by a significant amount for the cover of the magazine. The flabbergasted reactions from the crowd made the joke just that much better, as I don't believe they were expecting such a ruthless joke from the comedian. It did get a bit of a chuckle out of me, I'm not gonna lie, and Pete made sure to reiterate that it was just a joke, but you could tell there was this like slight stinging feeling underneath, and honestly, yeah, I'd be bothered if my ex said that about me too. But hey, it's kind of old news now. The clip itself has been circulating on TikTok. I actually just saw it last night for the first time. Did you see the clip? Alright, for our second story, we're talking about an article by the Washington Post that came out yesterday, December 6th, and it's all about the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle docu-series that seeks to explain their split from the rest of the royal family from their own perspective. In the USA, where they now live, the couple are actually pretty well received and well liked, but this isn't necessarily the case back in the UK. Obviously, in the UK, there is a bigger showing of support for the royal family itself. Not unanimously or anything, but they definitely have a bigger fan base, which means that many people, including tabloids and members of the press, had a rather unsavory view of the couple. For example, Piers Morgan, a longtime critic of Meghan, wrote on Monday, "Another day, another nauseatingly self-serving, whiny trailer from the royal renegades Meghan and Harry for their upcoming Netflix trash-a-thon of their own family." Essentially, the article from the Washington Post is all about the docu-series and most of the efforts of Meghan and Harry seemingly trying to gain control of their own narrative. Now this kind of thing is actually pretty commonplace for the royal family. Controlling the narrative that is put out about them, whether it's interviews with sympathetic reporters, cooperating on biographies, and just having a firm grip on what their image is exactly. So it just seems that in an effort to rally their own supporters and to not be smeared by the royal family itself, they're just taking on new means to tell their own story. And it's not like this docuseries is the first time it's happened. At first, it was just about building their social media presence, but they have been doing podcasts, TV interviews like the one with Oprah, and they also have pursued lawsuits against British tabloids. It's smart, and they have honestly garnered a lot of support. If you watch interviews, particularly with younger Brits, the royal family itself isn't exactly the most most popular. This docuseries is being put up in part thanks to the couple's very own production company, and they are supplying never-before-seen footage and pictures. So, of course, they do have some control over what is being said here. But some people are set on poking holes in the couple's story, calling out pictures that were featured in the trailer for the series about the truth and their relationship that were taken before the relationship even began. And a lot of tabloids have put out headlines that honestly seem kind of petty and butthurt. The Times of London ran a front page headline on Tuesday that said, "Prince Harry and Meghan have declared all-out war against the royal family." Another started their article with, quote, "Quick, nurse, pass the sick bag, the wokest couple in all the West is at it again." I don't know, it just seems just a little bit petty to me. Just a little bit out of pocket and kind of not necessary. Like, you could just tell the truth, that's kind of their job, but hey, I work here. Honestly, this is what all members of the royal family do. It's all about image and public perception and efforts to control it. And that's been true for members of not just this royal family, but pretty much every royal family ever. The game of narrative control is their bread and butter, but we can only know exactly what Harry and Meghan say is when the first 3 episodes of the docuseries come out on Netflix December 8th. And lastly for our video today, the Netflix hit show Wednesday is getting some backlash of its own. Reviews for the show that dropped November 23rd have been pretty positive, and mainly that's attributed to Jenna Ortega's performance as Wednesday Addams. It's also breaking records for the most watched TV show on Netflix in a single week, totaling 341.2 million hours, which beat out the previous record holder Stranger Things. But with the good, there is also the bad, and the show has been receiving a few negative reviews from critics and some on social media. The series and its executive producer Tim Burton are being accused mainly of racism, after it was noted that the few black actors that are actually in the show have been cast as only villains or bullies. All 3 of the show's main and recurring black actors, Joy Sunday, Iman Marson, and Tommy Earl Jenkins, have been cast as antagonistic characters, with Jenkins and Marson playing the father-son duo of Noble, a bully, and Lucas Walker, the incredibly shady and somewhat corrupt mayor of the town. And Joy Sunday is playing Bianca, the top popular mean girl student at Nevermore and a siren who uses her powers to get into Nevermore in the first place. On top of that, Lucas and Noble own a theme park and museum dedicated to the memory of pilgrims and colonizers, and that was also pointed out in the arguments against the show, with some claiming it to be ridiculous and nonsensical to have a black mayor praising genocidal colonizers and pilgrims. Some have said that the series creators, Alfred Goh and Miles Miller, seem to have wrote the characters as if they were white, but then placed black actors in the roles with no thought as to how their race might have impacted their beliefs and values. Obviously, these negative reviews have caused some bickering and controversy online. Obviously, casting a person of color as an antagonist is not itself racist, and the characters, particularly Bianca, do have more significant layers to them and growth in the show's storyline. But then again, Tim Burton himself has had a bit of history with racism, being accused of rarely ever casting minorities in his films in the first place, and the few times he has, they were also pretty much all cast as antagonistic roles. But really, the final say is up to the people. That's you guys. And we here at Inform Overload would love to hear what exactly your opinion on this is down in the comments below. Actually, let's talk about everything down there. Did you find Pete Davidson's jokes funny? How did you feel about Harry, Meghan, and the royal family? Do you care about any of this at all?
A lot of Ariana Grande fans were upset to learn that she would not be attending the 2022 Grammys. Apparently, the prospect of winning 3 Grammy Awards just wasn't enough to get her to come to this year's ceremony. The 2-time winner shocked fans just hours before the event started when she announced that she would be skipping the 64th annual Grammy Awards. But stick around to find out why. After she announced she was going to be missing the event this year, her name immediately became a trending topic on Twitter, with thousands of fans expressing how heartbroken they were and sharing their disappointment. This year, she is nominated for her song and album, both titled Positions, as well as her feature on Doja Cat's album called Planet Her. Writing on Instagram, she addressed the nominations and said that she and all the other nominees have already won. Along with the announcement, she also shared 10 short videos from the production of her album. The clips featured Ariana in the studio, live musicians recording the songs, and a lot of behind-the-scenes shots as well from her music videos. In her Instagram caption, she writes, "Some Positions memories to celebrate Grammy Day, reflecting on an incredible process with so many creatives that I love and respect so deeply.
Simply, I love this album, so it's an honor to be recognized today alongside so many brilliant musicians and human beings that I love. To have each other, to have the gifts that we have, to share and feel heard is not something to take for granted. We've already won. Have a beautiful time. I am celebrating all of you there today. And one of the top comments was Ariana's mother, who said, "Ariana, brava, your brilliance in music is only surpassed by the brilliance you have in your heart. I am so proud of you all the time. I love you." In 2019, Grande actually skipped the Grammys after a disagreement over her scheduled performance. You see, she wanted to perform 7 Rings, but show producers reportedly wouldn't let her. They tried to compromise by allowing her to perform the song as part of a bigger medley. However, she decided to drop out entirely. Although it's unclear why she decided not to attend this year's show, regardless, here's hoping that she wins some awards and is able to celebrate at home with her husband and her dogs.